Welcome to another That's What They Said, a podcast where we question the questionable lyrics of your favorite songs. Sarina and Scott Spinelli talking about not the fake one, but the real Slim Shady by Eminem. Well, this was an accident, apparently, Scott. I'm going to call you out right away.
Yeah, so it occurred to me while we were doing this, because I don't know if I said it on the air or off when we were talking about upcoming songs. I think I had said something like, yeah, it'll be fun to do this song, but it'll be difficult because there's so many different versions of it based on if they edited it or not edited. And that's definitely my name is. Like, this song has an edit, a clean and a non-clean. But like, I remember even thinking about the lyric, stapled my dick to a stack of papers or whatever that lyric is. That's my name is. That's not this song.
No.
So,
No.
you would think 45 episodes in or whatever it is.
Figure it out.
Yeah, but apparently not. No. I mean, what am I doing? Like, drunkenly adding to our shared list?
Oh, that's a funny one.
Yeah, like, how do I get that wrong? I don't
think I should revoke your privilege to add songs.
Yeah, it should not be a shared list anymore.
No. At least we know what his name is or that he's real or not. He clearly has to establish an identity within the community. So I appreciate it. This song's very cartoonish.
It's extremely cartoonish. And in fact, to that point, I don't really love this song. I like it. I think it's fun, but like, in terms of Eminem songs, even at the time, it was like, all right, this is clearly, and then the story that I read today, which I'm sure you saw, is the same. It sort of fits that when he delivered this album, they told him, they were like, well, we need a song. We need something that we can put out there. And this wasn't on it originally, and then it doesn't fit with the rest of it to me. Like,
it's very
different. Much. You know what it evokes? Do you remember the song when Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake were doing music a little bit together, and Jay-Z, they had that suit and tie? Remember?
Yes,
Suit and tie?
I was like tuxedo, suit and tie.
Yes, yeah. Suit and Tie was a good song, but Suit and Tie didn't fit with the rest of the album at all. And this kind of feels like that to me, where it's good, but it doesn't fit at all.
I agree. There was likely a shortage of bleach when this song came out, or at least the video, because I'm like, man, I forgot how blonde he was.
Oh God.
I'm gonna start off with a quick Denver nug because I totally forgot that his mom had sued him for defamation. And then so I saw this. The case was settled in 2001 for $25,000.
Okay.
But the attorney was awarded $23,354, which means she got like $1,000, $1,600,
right,
for a song that is absolutely massively huge.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the other thing. 25,000 still not enough.
No, I didn't. I was like, oh, that's all she got. The attorney got. Like, I don't even know if it's worth it for that. But
yeah, exactly.
That was my Denver. That was my Denver.
I don't think I have any real Denver nugs on this song. I do. I mean, unlike last week, I do have some lyrics.
Oh, good. Because this is a song you can actually crap on versus the Fugees.
Yeah.
Background, by the way, The Real Slim Shady by Eminem. His third album, the Marshall Mathers LP, came out in 2001. It was the lead single before the album's release, but that makes sense that they were sort of like, bro, we need a song to put out to the masses.
And then it became a thing. It was like, well, how do I do another My Name Is, but yeah.
It peaked 4 on the Billboard 100. It won a Grammy for Best Rap Solo Performance.
Which is funny. Yes, the Grammy thing we'll get to. We will get to the Grammy.
Okay, perfect. All right, well then let's kick things off. Go for it, Scott. What's your
So I've rapped along to this song a million times, just like you have.
Yes.
The lyric that I thought I understood and then sort of underscores his genius. And this is not I'm not crapping on him in this particular part. I'm just saying this blew my mind. Tell me honestly if you understood this as a double meaning. No offense, there's no way you did, because we'd have to have lived in his house to know this. The lyric is, jaws all on the floor like Pam and Tommy just burst in the door. And obviously what that literally is referring to is your jaws are on the floor like Pam and Tommy just came in. But what he's also saying, and there was a genius annotation for this, and if you click on it, and sometimes this will happen, the actual artist will have a verified annotation for it,
Oh,
for that
yes.
particular lyric. And in this case, he said the reason that, and this is again, like just blew my mind. He had just had shark skin put on his floor. So it literally was Jaws, like the shark, all
Oh,
on the
no
floor.
way.
So it means it has the double meaning of the Jaws all on the floor, like Pam and Tommy just burst in the door, double entendre.
Oh,
And
that's genius. Why would you put shark skin on your floor?
who knows? I mean, maybe he's messing around because later on he also, like, he has another genius annotation. He goes, that's also with the lyric about Dr. Dre being locked in his basement and being, and he says something like, well, that's part of the reason why I got the shark skin. I had to block the smell of Dr. Dre's carcass coming up.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, I mean, again, whether or not there is a shark skin thing, I just want to believe that that's true, because
I would like to believe that.
God, that's so cool if that's the case.
Oh, man. Or maybe he has like, yeah, Jaws carpets all over.
I don't even know what that is. I'm not going to question you on that. I don't know what that
know. Like the movie Jaws, then he just has like
you're just a big fan. Yeah.
Yeah, big fan of
You
Jaws.
know how a lot of people put their favorite movies on carpets that they walk all over.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I was like trying to think. It's like you walk in, you're like, ah.
Yeah. It's not terrifying at all. Yeah. What's your first there?
Y'all act like you've never seen a white person before. This is just funny because if it's taken out of context, you'd be like, I'm sorry, I see white people every day. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the irony of it, right? Obviously, he's talking about rap music, but like,
sure.
it's just such a funny thing to think about. Like, I would imagine everyone who's not white listens to that and he goes, no, no, no. And like, literally, I close my eyes and I see white people.
Right. Yeah.
You guys are fucking everywhere. Frankly, enough of you, as it turns out. And
Yeah.
and I speak for all time, perhaps, not just
all over the place in history books, everywhere, magazines. Pretty, you've got it covered. Like, it's impressive. So yeah, I just thought that was a great, and yes, out of context.
Mine was, to go back to the Grammy point, where
oh yeah,
I'm gonna call him out a little bit. Lyric is, you think I give a damn about a Grammy? Half you critics can't even stomach me, let alone stand me. Okay, so first of all, I don't think he cares about Grammys maybe in the way that everyone might, but he certainly did a little bit. This one won a Grammy, and he won a total of 15 Grammys. So I don't know what
act like you've never seen a white person before.
Exactly. And that's the other irony of it too. Remember, was it Macklemore who won one year and then like
over Kendrick Lamar?
Yeah, he like apologized on stage, which to me was an even sissier route to begin with. It's like, we all get it that like that was not the album of the year, but like for you to apologize
don't apologize, just accept it and move on.
Accept it and move on. Exactly. Yeah.
He wanted Kanye to come up and say Beyonce deserves this. Yeah, I don't know. Just, oh, geez. Yeah. No. We've talked about Eminem before in a previous episode, and I do think he cares about these things. Like, you act like I care about a Grammy. I'm like, bruh, you do. Where are those Grammys sitting on your shelf?
And he also does care about the respect of his peers, right? So like maybe that's the idea of this, is that Grammys have never been, as a person who's a fan of, I've never understood why any rap fan I know ever gives a shit about Grammys, because they don't ever pick the people that I think are good.
Yes.
And not only that, rap is so wildly different. Like, meaning, like in a given year, you could have had an Outkast and like a Biggie album, let's say, you know what I mean, or whatever. And like these two things don't sound at all alike, and they're both really good. And a Wu-Tang thing, and like these genres don't mix at all.
No.
They're all,
and then they give it to Celine Dion or something, and you're just like, huh?
That said, he clearly does care about what at least his peers think of him.
That's fair. You're right. Maybe the Grammys of his peers.
Yeah, the Grammys of his peers. What a term.
BET Awards. But no, I'm with you. The other thing was, but if we can hump dead animals and antelopes, then there's no reason that a man and another man can't elope. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Eminem, the gay rights activist.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Did I write that in our shared one, or that is literally word for word what I wrote as my commentary.
No.
Yes. I wrote obviously that same lyric, that part is the same, but then my comment, the way I do it is, I don't know how you do it. I write the lyric out, or I copy the lyric, and then I write a quick thought to jog my memory while we're, so I have it for this. And I literally wrote Eminem, comma, the gay rights activist.
That's
Exact word.
You're right, Eminem, but whoa, like didn't take you for one to just let gay marriage happen.
Well, also, I think the next lyric also then like it
Oh, he
doesn't.
tries to mask it, right?
Yeah, like like no, well, no, I'm sorry, it's the Ken Kniff. They're like
Oh,
that character that they have throughout the at least the initial albums, where they either do ew or ugh or something like that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, of course he couldn't just say that and then have it be it. There had to be
That would have
something.
been amazing. Like I think
Yeah, it had to be
like
offensive.
people would have been like respect, but he
Well,
had
wasn't
to.
it? I mean, there was all the hubbub about all the various shit he said over the years, but then Ellen John was a fan of his, or is, I believe. Like, I think Ellen John was. Remember, he sang with him at the award show, and I feel like it's one of those things where people took his lyrics a little too literally. Because, in fairness, for all the horrific things he said, and he did say some horrific things, uh, he also, like, if he did any of them, he'd be in jail for the rest of his life. Like, I don't.
Correct.
They're all ridiculous. He talks about
He
killing.
No,
You know,
he even says like, I mean, the whole music video is like in a psych ward, and like he clearly makes fun of himself for being a
yes,
lunatic with his lyrics. Like
yes.
you don't lock Dre in your basement. Like that's not
Yes,
happening.
his
You'd be
mentor
in
and friend.
jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's great that he can just do that. Like if I said things like that, I mean, I'm also a reporter. I just go and say things like,
Okay, a little
yeah,
different.
yeah. I'm like, great.
But that's so that brings me to my next lyric, which is,
Okay.
and this is the one to me that's got the most meat on the bone, right? Where he says, "But Slim, what if you win? Wouldn't it be weird? Why? So you guys could just sit me here? What? Or excuse me. Why? So you guys could just lie to get me here? So you could sit me here next to Britney Spears?
Oh yeah.
Shit, Christina Aguilera better switch with chairs so I can sit next to Carson Daly and Fred Durst and let them argue over who she gave head to first.
Mhm.
Little bitch put me on blast on MTV. Yeah, he's cute, but I think he's married to Kim. Hee hee." And
Ooh,
so that's one of those things where it's like, all right, so just to go, I want to get to that, but just backing up a step, I agree with you 100%. It is interesting how he can, why is it that people took him so seriously about the anti whatever thing, but then they were like, oh, well, he clearly doesn't have Dre locked up in his basement. It's like,
right.
if we're agreeing that he's being an idiot and fucking around on one topic, like he's clearly doing that for all of them. That's,
Yes.
but to your point of
This
like, well, when you were like, oh, I couldn't get away with that. The funny thing is that this is something that I don't even think nowadays he could do, because it would be a real bad look for someone to talk about public celebrity, especially women, about which celebrity they hooked up with, and in
yes.
graphic terms, no less. Like John Mayer is routinely destroyed for saying that Jessica Simpson was sexual napalm, which I think he meant as a compliment. I'm not saying it's okay to say that, but like that is like the tamest version of this. And he did have a relationship, but this is, I mean, like it's inappropriate is what it is at
Yeah,
best.
and it was so back. I mean, to go back to like MTV days where like Carson Daly was like the top guy
Absolutely.
on MTV, TRL.
Yep.
Christina Aguilera was like the top of her game. Fred Durst really tried to be at the top of his game always. But you're like, whoa, excuse me? Because Christina Aguilera was like the sexy version of the
Britney
Britney
Spears.
Spears. Right.
He
And
mentions
so
her
I'm like,
too.
you didn't want to sit next to Britney Spears and you're like getting pushed by Carson Daly, who I don't know, he was always sort of like straight edge and like he was dorky to me. And so I'm like, wait, what?
I
You
just,
hooked up with Christina Aguilera? What's happening?
I mean, people are getting in trouble. People have gotten in trouble for uh, like relationships that are above board. You know what I mean? Like this is something where like a famous person came out and dragged 3 or 4 different other famous people of
Yeah.
the era in a sexual, embarrassing way. And you know what I mean? Like, again, we all laughed at it and giggled, but like, that is wildly, I mean, you talk about shit that you couldn't get away with today. That whole
It's in
section
a
there.
pro.
Yeah. I mean, totes and a pros.
speaking of calling out famous people, then his line, Will Smith don't got a cuss in his reps to sell records. Well, I do, so F him and F you too. Fantastic, because Will Smith notably never cursed on any track that he had. And then I looked into
But
go ahead.
that came about though, if I'm not mistaken, because Will Smith said something like
He did in his acceptance speech
exactly. So like
where
that to me was a little bit more uh called for in a way. Not to
I
the
agree. There
doesn't
was.
have to say fuck you, but like there was a little bit more of a called for in that, like, because that's not just an attack on Eminem. That's
It's an
every
attack on all hip hop artists.
yeah, every rapper you like has cursed. I mean, sorry, they have.
In 1999, the MTV Music Awards, Smith's Miami, going to Miami, won over Eminem's My
Sorry, was
Name
that you
Is.
singing the song? Yeah, that
I
was
was
good.
trying to think. Yeah, for best male video. And in his acceptance speech, he said, I never killed anybody in none of my records. I never used no profanity in none of my records. And I still managed to get up here. I was like, well, you've got 2 legs, feet. I guess you could walk.
Yeah, I mean, again, I get what he's saying, and I understand the idea of like not everything has to be, but like a lot of these guys are rapping and girls are rapping about what they see and what goes on around them. His existence might have been bad as well, and he just didn't feel like rapping about that kind of thing. That's totally
Uncle
fine. But
Phil wouldn't have allowed it, though,
no,
Well, don't you use that language in this
you're
fancy
living with us.
mansion in Bel Air.
Living with us now, brother. You're living with us.
Uh, and so yeah, Eminem was not happy, and he said, "I used to respect Will Smith. Now he's just the whole genre of rap. He just gangster rap music, and that
Did
is one of the most influential musics out there. I respect him for saying his opinion, but not everybody is happy as Will Smith. Not everybody sees life as happy and as positive as he sees it, and it's just hilarious because like you get this white dude from Detroit who's like now fighting for the rights of all hip hop artists against Will Smith."
But that is also what I think, like, so I read this interesting article about Eminem. I don't know if you have more lyrics. Do you have
No,
more
that's
lyrics?
it. That's it.
Yeah. So this is what I think people okay, there's always this debate in rap, right? Top 5, all that bullshit. I think the one thing that's really interesting about Eminem is that no matter what people who really like the genre think of him as a rapper, they will at the very least say that he gives credit where credit's due, and he's a student of the art form. As an
Yes.
example, and I didn't know this, but apparently this song was referencing a K Solo song called "Real Solo, Please Stand Up" from 1990, and
Oh,
that's where that title came from, right? Or like when he got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's an interesting article. I can send it to you if you want, or I'll put it in the description
good
of
notes.
this.
Yeah.
But he listed alphabetically everyone who influenced him, and in rap, and there were people that you would have never heard of, and so many of these dudes were like so honored that he knew who they were and remembered this thing about them or liked them and
Huh.
whatever it was. And I don't even think he actually spoke on each of them because he just kept listing them. But the idea was his speech was dedicated to everyone who made it possible for him. So I think that is something that it does make sense that he would take up the mantle for rap in that way. Although at the time, as new as he was, it was like, who the fuck is this guy? But
Yeah.
now it's like, yeah, that's who he was. He loves it. And the fact that he's white is incidental.
That's wild. I didn't know that. Good for you,
Yeah.
Eminem. And then he brought on Kathy Griffin into the music video, which
Oh,
who also makes fun of a lot of different people, but
yep.
it was apparently because Snoop Dogg told him that she was really funny, and that's why he put her in the music video.
Wait, what? Snoop Dogg? Snoop Dogg is a big Kathy Griffin fan.
Yes, Griffin said during a interview with Jay Leno that Eminem selected her for the video because fellow rapper Snoop Dogg told him she was really funny.
That is fucking nuts.
Yes. I mean, Snoop Dogg's like friends with like Martha Stewart. So I don't know. I mean,
Sure, but I mean, was he at that point? That's the crazy part. I mean, this is 99, right? So
he
like
was watching Martha Stewart living back then, reading the mag.
I'm gonna get in on this.
Yeah, just go back and be like, wait, Snoop Dogg and Kathy Griffin were getting tea? Like, it just, what?
That's a wild combination. A
Where's
wild
Kathy Griffin
combination.
now? I mean, she's done a lot of work to her face, but like, she was such a 90s
Well, she had popped up
fixture.
again. Not that we want to turn this into that realm, but I know she had popped up again. She got in trouble because she did that photo shoot with the Trump's head. The cut off that
Oh,
head. People didn't
yeah.
really quite care for that.
That's where
So,
Kathy Griffin is.
yeah,
Okay.
that's why that, yeah. So anyway.
Final thoughts on the real Slim Shady.
Much like last week when I said go back and listen to the score, I would say with this album, because I have re-listened to some of his stuff lately, and he's an interesting artist for me in that I love him and I grew up listening to him. He is my answer to what angsty teens that liked rock and listen to Limp Bizkit listen to. I listen to this, so like I get this, but it's not to say that it's not that it doesn't age in the sense like, oh, it's so inappropriate. I don't care about that shit.
Yeah.
But it's more like I don't find myself ever thinking, what I need to go back to go in. Like I will say to myself, even no matter how much trouble Kanye gets into, his songs still make me want to go listen to them.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, these are artists
Good.
that if you can separate art from artist, that music makes you want to listen to it. It's timeless in that way.
Mhm.
Not all his stuff does that. And that doesn't mean it's not great rap, but I'm not dying to go back to listen to Eminem as much as, and I wonder if that's the case for other people, yourself included. Do you know what I mean by that?
So this song, no, I could care less to listen
Yeah.
to it. It's a little harsh on the ears.
Yeah.
But like some of his other songs, the one with Enya, which we talked about in a previous episode, like there's some songs, and I think it's the mixture of the production and his lyrics that help, but there's a handful. It's what his voice is so whiny sounding that it's
Yeah, and it's aggressive.
hilarious.
It's an
Yeah,
attack. Like he's
yeah.
such a good artist. It's like I don't know. It's like I'm trying to think of an example, but like there's basketball players that are beautiful to watch, and there's basketball players who just are going to grind out and just like he's like the Draymond Green in a basketball, and that like it is a war, and he's excellent, but it is not. I mean, he can be a pretty rapper too, but it's like it is just a lot. Like whereas you watch somebody else and you watch Steph Curry shoot threes from 38 feet away, and
Mhm.
it's very pretty. And this is not that. This is not flowery. It's just like you really go in like you're ready. It's like you feel
Yeah.
like you fought someone when you listen to his stuff.
He fights himself because like
Yes.
he's he's also a good-looking person. So it's
Yeah.
hilarious because he's like, no, I gotta look like this. I don't look good. Don't like me because of how I look and because I'm a white guy. Like me because I'm a great hip hop artist. Like there's
Hmm.
a internal conflict.
A dichotomy, if you will.
Yes. Like you poor man, you need a hug. I think now
He seems like he's doing well now.
he's
Yeah.
doing well. He's
Yeah.
worked through that. But
Yeah.
yeah, when he
I
had
mean,
the
there was a
bleach
time.
blonde hair. Oof.
Well, also then I think it was after Relapse, or it might have been the Relapse album where like he was always doing those voices too. That was a garbage period of his career. The fact that he ever even came back and still made like I thought he was done, not literally done. I just thought like, oh, this is just going to be
Yeah.
garbage for the rest of his career. In the way that I thought Nas was done, and then he just linked up with Hit Boy and everything they've made. The last like 4 albums have been excellent.
Right.
It's the same thing with this. Like I don't think it's quite as good, but he's had that second wind, which I've appreciated.
Yeah. I mean I don't know why didn't he perform at the Grammys or something like that? It was like such a big deal, like, oh, Eminem. But I was like, why isn't he around just playing some of his the classic tracks that are,
I think it
deserve.
might be because of what I was saying. Like, not some of the people aren't dying to go back and listen to this stuff. I don't think.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like I love the song "Criminal." Remember the song "Criminal"?
Hmm.
And I don't ever think to myself, I need to put that on ever. And I
Yeah.
love it's a good song. It's just like, I don't know what it is. For whatever reason, that song doesn't get like a repeat for me. I don't know why. Anyway.
What about like Mom Spaghetti? Like that's a great one. I mean,
Yeah, that one. Well, that one gets played all the time. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, that
Like I still could warm up to that. Like I don't like if I was like
yeah.
an athlete, I'd put that song on.
That I actually always thought,
What's
I
the
mean, that
actual
was
name of the song? It's not Mom Spaghetti.
oh, what's the name of that song?
Hold on, I got it.
Lose Yourself.
Thank you. That's a great song. That's a great song.
I actually think 8 Mile Road, I think that's the name of the song, the title song, is a really good song on that album that nobody gives enough credit to.
Cause yeah, so like that's a song I still, if it comes on my random Spotify,
Yeah.
like leave
Well, I'm
that
not turning his stuff off. I'm just not looking for it. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, I'm glad you're not looking for Eminem. No one is apparently now, and he's at peace. If you are looking for a good podcast, find us on YouTube and give us 5 stars, because
This is that podcast, yeah.
again, that's the only reason we're here. So thanks for listening to us. That wraps up another That's What They Said. Sarina&Scott, Spinelli. We'll catch you on another time.